Say something interesting.
Something interesting. Where's your tail? I can stick it in.
It's not one of those.
Stick it in! Okay, what is it? Like Jaws? Doo-dum, 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 doo-dum.
Luckily, you don't have to worry about my jaws, because my bark is worse than my bite. Don't pity laugh at me.
Hello!
Welcome back to
What's Safeword?
I'm Amp.
I'm Mr. Kristofer.
And today...
We're gonna
Bark,
ask...
bark, 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 bark.
We're gonna
Bark, 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 bark.
We're gonna
Bark,
ask...
bark, 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 bark.
Ask a pet player!
So we always get asked, literally, over and over again, questions about pet play. And I feel like we've done so many of these at this point.
You feel like we've done so many you didn't want to do it.
Well, just because I was like, I feel like we've already answered these questions. But then, case in point, y'all always very much surprise us because I asked you guys on Twitter, explosion, to give us questions about pet play. Now, I'm a puppy.
Hello.
And I'm a pony. And we're kind of a dog and pony show.
Well, I mean, that's the joke. It's never funny when you explain the joke.
Dog and pony show. Get it?
And so today's version of Ask is asking us pet play related questions, both from the Dom sub, the sub side, Dom
The
sub.
sub, the
No, I
dom
meant
sub,
dom side.
the dom dom, the sub,
What'd you call me?
dom.
Dib dub dibdone of the dome the dibdales dimmadome.
My name is Dunsdale Dimmadale Dims Dome Dimmodome, owner of the Dims Dimmadale Dim.
Daddy, do you want to start us off by just explaining what pet play is?
Pet play is when you get into a headspace which is an animal, not doing anything with animals, but being an animal.
But within that, I do think it's very important and clear that we're not just talking about puppies or ponies today. Animal role play, pet play, whatever you call it, comes in many different species, shapes, sizes, and animals. I know a few dragons, I know a few cats, I know a few dogs.
Oh my.
What does the fox say?
Ding 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 ding.
So with that short intro out of the way, question 1 comes from Candy Rose, who asks, what were the characteristics that drew you to pet play?
Truthfully, I always found the Anne Rice books, Beauty's Release, to be erotic. So I always kind of pictured myself being treated like a horse. And it wasn't until we were at a convention and I put a horse head on that I really got into the pony space.
Very fair. And personally, I was traumatized as a child for never being allowed to have a dog because my parents never wanted a dog. And look at me now. And while my parents have an actual pet or a bio pet, you know, not me, I am a pet player where there's like actual bio animals. It's you know, I've just kind of moved on. But in all reality, I just like the aspects of dogs, how playful, how energetic, how friendly, and just how lovable and loving they are. I just really liked the way that they are.
And animals have a loving characteristic where they don't need to use words to communicate, so it's a lot of body language. So a lot of people find they can get into their more intimate selves this way.
And those that might be a little bit more neurodiverse or just need kind of that buffer to let them be themselves in a different headspace, pet play, just role play in general, is super, super helpful there. But there's actually a psychological study that was done specifically on pet play, and they said that 5 characteristics that brought people to the play.
Yes, science!
Now the study itself, The Psychology of Puppy Play, a phenomenological investigation, states that there are 5 things that bring people to specifically puppy play. The first one being sexual pleasure.
And that's why I was drawn to it,
The second one, relaxation and therapy.
which is why you were drawn to it.
The third reason being adult play and vibrant physicality. The fourth, extending your selfhood. And the fifth, community, which I think everybody gets out of the kink community in some way, shape, or form.
That's why it's a community.
The next question from your local cult leader.
Cult later.
We don't talk about the cult.
Like pony cult? Your local cult leader?
Oh my god. What made you pick your specific animal? Like, the first instance you realized, hey, that's me.
For me, I didn't really feel like a puppy or a dog, and I knew lots of puppies and dogs. For me, I was more like a workhorse. And I don't like to talk and I don't like to interact that much. And the great thing about horses is you don't know if they like you or not. They just look at you with that side eye. And that's just me.
Whereas I'm just always pretty upbeat and you know if I like you or not, and that eating from a bowl on the floor is kind of fun, so like.
Oh, I like that too.
The cult aside, of course. The cult. Shh, don't talk about. Shh. Speaking of animals, Matt then asks, what's your favorite breed to chum around with? And no, you can't say German Shepherd. German Shepherd. I'm also a little bratty. Tara then follows up and asks, what's your favorite kind of gear to get you into a headspace? Personally, I like...
You're going the wrong way.
Shit. 1 second. Almost there. Is this visual gag working? Oh, there we go. I really like my hood. My hood is very, very helpful to get into a headspace. It gets that snout in front of you. You kind of just feel like you're in that headspace. You have little floppy ears.
And I also have a hood. However, I don't like to wear it a lot, truthfully. The hood is more for show than anything.
Yeah. Other things I like to play with, I really like my tail. It helps when like we go out to the bar because it's belted that I can just kind of wag around. I do really like my little leather bone or some sort of chew toy to play around with. And then I have a bunch of other hoods. Like there's different kinds of, there's different...
Is that money from go-go dancing?
Yeah, probably.
Woo, show me
No,
the money.
hey,
It's raining.
No.
But truthfully, my favorite piece of gear is just a bit gag. A simple bit gag makes me feel like a horse and someone controlling me.
But as we said, Daddy, gear is what?
Expensive.
No. Well, yes. Not necessary. Not necessary.
Not necessary.
You could put socks on your hands and like put some vet wrap around that to get yourself like some paws so you feel like you're a pup. You can literally like get some little cat ears or just get something more inexpensive online to try it out. But we will say that getting good quality gear goes a long way. So sometimes saving up is helpful.
And we're just giving you examples of us. Pet players come in all different shapes and sizes and breeds.
As well as animals.
And animals.
I know a snake.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that Slytherin?
Well, they slither in something.
I know a worm.
I'm afraid to ask. Which, speaking of gear, Pup Prite asks, how do you prevent the deafening sound of scritches when you're inside of a hood? Which
Are they deafening?
Well, let's get some more. Get the dollars out of there.
How much money is in there?
Don't worry about it. It was a good night.
Is this your doggy bank?
Literally what? I honestly didn't hear what you asked.
What if I scritch you? Can you hear now? Can you hear
So-
now? Can you hear now?
What?
Can you hear? Can you hear? Can
Oh,
you hear?
no.
Look,
Well-
I'm scratching your ears. Can you hear?
So, sometimes when you're inside of like a hood of some kind, it does muffle stuff, especially when you're scratching around here. I hear nothing. I mean, usually I just don't listen to Daddy, but I literally can't hear a thing.
Same.
What? I mean, I'm more worried about the helmet hair that you get when you take a hood off. That's the worst part.
That's truthfully why I don't like putting hoods on, is it fucks up my hair.
Which, speaking of, you guys are all very kind about the purple hair change. Thank you. But the way to get around it, get hoods that don't go over your ears. There's lots of muzzles that, you know, just go around the back of the head, or hoods that have kind of open in the back styles, similar to what Daddy's hood looks like and similar to my puppy hood right here. These kind of hoods help with making sure you don't overheat, but also allow you the air to breathe for both your ears, your mouth, your eyes. It's just, it fits a bit better and is not constricting. Although some people do like the tight feel of a really tight hood.
Yeah, but I overheat easily.
You are very hot.
Yeah, I am.
What is that?
I'm being hot.
Oh, okay.
Was
your
that-
sexy dance?
Was that not clear?
Oh, wait, I have something for this.
Ooh, I'm making money on the show. Making money.
Okay, that's all you get though for today. Go buy yourself something nice.
The dollar.
Ooh, a 20.
Hey,
And speaking of making it rain, we couldn't do today's episode without our wonderful sponsors,
Helix Sleep.
who not only helps us make it rain by just paying the bills, but also believes that pets deserve to sleep on the bed, okay? Pets deserve, let the pet sleep on the bed. Cuddle, they just want to be cuddled up next to you. They just want to be right next to you. Just let them sleep there.
That's why I need a bigger bed.
That's true. And with Helix Sleep, we did get you one. Now, Daddy, what is Helix Sleep?
Helix Sleep is my favorite premium mattress.
Who's been a long-time sponsor for the channel for over a year now. What is also really great about Helix Sleep is their Helix Sleep quiz, because everybody's different and Helix knows that. So we could put in our height, our weight, different sleeping positions, and firmness preferences. Helix had something that was perfect for me and Daddy in the bedroom. And we got the Dusk Luxe, which Daddy now has. And Daddy, how are you enjoying it?
I love my Dusk Luxe. Say that 3 times fast.
Dusk
Luxe.
Luxe.
Dusk Luxe.
Oh,
Dusk Luxe.
Yep. And since getting our mattresses, I've actually never had sleep that was this good. I had an old mattress that had some springs in it, and because Helix has springs and this lovely like cushioning sensation, they're not only the best mattress for sex, but they're just the best mattress to get a good night's sleep.
And before I got this mattress, I had my other mattress for over 10 years.
Plus, Helix not only ships to you very, what, Daddy?
Quickly.
And when you're ready to really let it inflate, what do you do, Daddy?
Ooh, it's the opposite of a vacuum rack. It goes.
ASM, are you ready for comfort? If you've ever bought a mattress, there is that nagging sensation of like, ooh, is this the right mattress for me? I don't know if I like this. So we especially like that they have what, Daddy?
100-night sleep trial.
So over 3 months for free that you get to try it out. And if you don't like it, you can ship it back and you get a free refund.
And don't forget, Helix has a 10-year warranty.
Dom's not included, but deals definitely are. Because if you go to Helix Sleep today and use offer code WATT, you get up to $200 off your mattress and 2 free pillows for free. My favorite part is I had honestly never slept better until I found a mattress that actually matched my sleep style. And no jumping on the bed.
Actually, my mattress fits right in my stable.
And you love horsing around on it, that's for sure. So thank you again to Helix Sleep, and on to the rest of the questions.
Yeah, you want to make some hay?
Oh my God. Speaking of hey girl, hey, the next question actually comes from Denver and asks about women in the space, saying, are there more female puppies out there? Because where can I find them? We get this question every time we do a Q&A, whenever we do anything puppy related. It's a part of our Puppy 101 class. Yes, there are female identified and non-binary people out there. It's just a matter of, and I have the stats to prove it, that it is a very male dominated space. The Nerdy Doggo actually did a 2019 study where they asked and surveyed a bunch of puppies all around the world, about 3,500 of them in fact. The full research study that the Nerdy Doggo put together is actually really interesting to look at because it looks at different parts of the world, different communities, and how and what they want out of those communities, with about 8% being not male specific identified people. But if we look at the study, I mean, the gay males take up about 56% of the at least American audience. So I feel for you, but the key there is just being yourself, putting yourself out there, because sometimes people need the permission to be themselves. You might be that permission.
Yeah, and if you show up, others will.
So Dad, just give them permission. You can sign their permission slip.
You have permission? No, you have permission to be yourself. You don't have to care what other people think. There are others out there.
If you build it, they will come. You know that old saying?
Yes.
Okay. Mally Girl asks, what are some tips for pups starting out? What are some ideas for easy things to do for your owner or handler? Well, I think to start out, just get into a headspace. And that might be just realizing what you want to do. Maybe it's getting on the floor, getting on all fours, getting comfortable. For some people, it's meditating. Others, it's having good music on that gets you in that space. Getting some gear, sometimes helpful. But I want to be really clear that having gear does not make you a pet player. I can pet play, get into the pup headspace without any gear, but sometimes it's nice. It adds to the sensation and feeling and helps you get comfy.
That being said, like any fetish activity, a little gear does help. Having a hood or a collar will put you in a headspace very fast.
Yeah, but ultimately just have fun and please don't take yourself too seriously. A lot of people get in their own head to the point where they can't get into their headspace, and that can be detrimental. As far as tips for your owners or handlers and just getting a scene together, approach your counterpart, whether they're the dom or the sub in the relationship, and tell them why you enjoy this scene, why you enjoy this headspace, what you want to get out of it, and maybe give them some scenes that you want to do. Maybe you want to do like a vet scene where you get examined, or maybe you want to sleep in a cage overnight. I say as I see the cage right here in Daddy's living room.
You want to sleep in a cage? We can do that, puppy. And then after they tell you that, grab your whip and whip them into shape.
No.
Good advice right here.
No.
I have no advice, kid.
No. And then a whole slew of questions, of course, because we can't do pet play without a headspace being mentioned, asking about headspace, from building it to fixing broken headspaces, which I'd love to get into with you.
What's a broken headspace?
We'll get into that, as well as keeping yourself in that headspace. So first of all, Daddy, what is a headspace?
Headspace is a mental attitude you have about the character you're playing or the role you're in.
And sometimes it can be kind of similar to like being in a hypnotic or meditative state where you're just a different version of yourself, but a good version. Sometimes a better version, some might say. I mean, you're barking up the right tree.
Oh, my dog.
What about him? Tell me more. Is he good? Is he great?
He needs a muzzle. Yay, muzzle! I think you should just stay in that headspace and do the rest of the show in that. Isn't that better already? No, I didn't say poke. I didn't say...
Actually, speaking of that study as well, they had a whole list of classes that people either did or wanted in their area. Headspace was one of the top 15% amount of classes people were looking for.
Do you think that that's because people think it's this mystical thing that they can't find, and when they do get into Headspace, they don't think they're in it?
I think it's because everybody's a little bit different, and Helix knows that.
The puppy is now just programmed.
That's my Helix headspace. That's my Helix headspace. My sponsorship headspace. I think sometimes people try too hard to get into it, and that causes them to feel like they're not doing it right. When, you know, sometimes the best headspace for me is just relaxing at the end of the day, having a little bit of medicinals, and then just being able to relax and ease into it. Not forcing it or pushing it, because then you might think it's broken. When in fact, you might just be too stressed and you need to give yourself some space and time and come back to that nice, comfortable headspace.
Yeah, for me, I didn't think I was doing it right at first because there weren't a lot of gay males doing it. Until at an event, I tried on a hood for the first time, and then it just came over me. I just embodied a horse.
Came over you? Where did it come?
And then something else came over me.
Sometimes it's getting into gear. Sometimes, as Daddy said, putting on a hood. Sometimes having someone that helps you to relax and get into a headspace. Sometimes even smells, music, sounds. It's just how... Sometimes they can turn you off. It's... And of course, the obligatory question from Pup Bunny, who says, "Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Are you a good boy?
Is it me?
Are you a good boy?
Is it me?
Are you a good boy?
Is it me?" And this next one from Malcontent was probably the one that I really wasn't sure how to answer at first. So I'm really glad that they asked it. And they asked, are there different levels of pet play? Or do most people just jump in? I have a hard time imagining people getting into the headspace very easily. Again, there's that headspace again. But the real crux of the question, are there different levels? Like, are you a level 1 and then a level 2 and you learn new abilities? Firebolt, firebolt, firebolt.
I think that's true because sometimes you're in pup space just around the house doing just tasks, and then other times you're in a mosh pit in full-on pup space.
Sure. And I did do some research and saw what people did or how, and just saw the different kinds of pet play being practiced. And there were a bunch of different forms, I wouldn't say levels, but types of pet play. The first of which you're kind of talking about, is short-term pet play. Something you do every once in a while, not necessarily sexual, it's just you playing.
And that's why people who are worried about staying in headspace, it's not a 24/7 thing. You don't have to be a puppy all the time.
And then we go to the next version of pet play called permanent play. And this was, not to contradict you, Daddy, but this is where people are doing that more 24/7 dynamic. Obviously, you're not doing it all day, every day, nonstop.
How many people do you know doing a 24/7
I expected
dynamic?
this question. I actually knew someone in Seattle who I went over and played with, him and his partner. Now, they were both very well-to-do gays that worked from home pre-COVID and did tech jobs. So the pup was always in a headspace, always in their gear, whether it was latex or a hood, working. But then when they weren't at their desk, they were on all fours, they were playing around, and they were in a pup headspace that had no talking involved. It was the most fascinating dynamic.
So they would have had to, and what you said was well-to-do, they would have had to organize their lives in a way that they don't have to leave home and interact with the public.
Well, they still left home. They'd go out to bars and stuff, but like the guy, the sub would be on a leash. And no kink shame in here. I thought it was a very fascinating dynamic, but the one day that I stayed with them, it was exhausting. Because I tried to be in the pup headspace with him the entire time, and I was just like, oh my God.
That's why it's not for us.
Yeah, this isn't a 24/7 dynamic or anything. Looks at giant bondage wall, naked people, you know, just a couple horse hoods over there, a cage literally.
All right.
There was also a domesticated play, which was more of kind of a not sexual, just pretending to be someone's actual pet. There was also feral play, which is like wild animals, and even a dark pet play.
Ooh, what's dark?
Yeah. You're pretty much playing with edge play along with the pet play. And it generally was more sexual and very like heavy BDSM.
Ooh, I like it. I'd be down for that.
I bet you would, because it generally was also talked about with like a CNC dynamic to it sometimes. And last but not least, the only other form of pet play I really found was like a hypno play. Like that was another categorization. I have no idea what that's like.
You just found it.
I founded it, maybe. I don't know.
You founded it.
Kitty Cat asks, do you have any book recommendations for pet play? Bark.
Woof.
Arf.
Those are all literally
Those
books.
are all books. I'm not. We get asked this a lot too. Very good books. Some of them are more fiction-y than others, but there's a lot of really good history there, and it's interesting. It's interesting.
And what else do you expect when a puppy writes a book? It's going to be titled Woof.
We're not joking. Woof, Arf, and Bark are all puppy play books. Can't make that shit up. And of course, we can't talk about the pet play, which generally focuses on the sub, without talking about the handlers, the doms, the mommies, the daddies, whatever verbiage.
Alphas.
Or alphas, yeah, alphas as well. Which takes us to a few questions revolving around what is a handler? Like, why are there so many more puppies than there are handlers?
Well, why are there so many more subs than there are doms?
That's kind of just the general dynamic of a lot of kink scenes, because a lot more people are not maybe as serious in the scene, so they're not learning to be the top, or it just might be more fun and easier to be a sub in many cases.
Pro tip, turn into a dom and you will never lack for sex.
You mean pro dom?
Pro dom. Yeah, pro dom. Make money from it.
And looking at the Nerdy Doggo study again, actually, there were stats to back that up. It says here that in North America, most people are at 70.5% puppy. We had 9.6 that were handler only, and we had 20% that were both. So there is that versatile role within puppy play or pet play. For instance, in the pup realm, there are alpha pups who dom other pups, but are still pups themselves.
And do you think any of that crossover is just pups teaching the next generation coming up?
Yeah, I think so. And probably a disparity of doms and subs, but still wanting to play.
Just like life
Yeah.
in subs. That's what happened to me. I was a sub, had to turn into a dom.
You didn't have to.
I got to.
You get, there you go. And even questions around verbiage too, specifically to you, because people consider the tops for pet players to be handlers, but you're not a handler, you're a daddy. Is there a difference in your mind there?
Nay.
And while there's lots of tips and tricks within videos like this in the Ask Us series, almost always we get a question of what would you tell your younger self or yourself when you first started playing? And this one came from Deterrenix this time, who said, what would you recommend as far as tips and what would you avoid?
So I would tell myself, don't be scared to put yourself out there. I think I thought people would think less of me if I was a pony or doing pet play.
Interesting.
And I enjoy it so much now that I don't care what people think.
You gotta unleash the beast sometimes, and I'm not talking about taking your penis out.
Sometimes you need to bridle them.
It's so fascinating because a lot of people come to the pet play or even role play in general to be almost degraded or dehumanized because your normal human life is stressful and you just gotta get out of it sometimes. But at the same time, we're so afraid to unleash that part of us and just allow it to happen that it keeps us from getting involved. I think that there's so much fear to start something new that it holds us back from a lot of things. Like YouTube, for instance, didn't do that for years because I felt like, that's too much work, I can't do it, I won't know what to do. The same thing for me happened with puppy play as it did for daddy and pony play.
And truthfully, seeing your enjoyment of puppy play gave me the strength and the encouragement to take on my own role. No.
Aww. I would say save up for the hood that you want. Like, find a dealer that you like. Maybe it's on Etsy, maybe it's a Scrapyard Leather, which is who made my hood. Maybe it's Mr. S that has a really nice hood you want. Just save up for one really nice thing that you want and get that. You don't need all the gear, but if something really catches your eye, for me it was just grabbing a hood and just going to town, do that. Because it's really rewarding when you're able to not only save up for something really nice, but then get something that really speaks to you and your style.
Yeah, and that changed it for me as well, because I didn't have any gear. I would do a little bit of pony play with my partners, and then you got me a pony hood for Christmas, and that was a game changer for me, because as soon as I put it on, I got into a headspace quickly.
But last but not least to that question, what would you advise against? Are there any red flags or things you might have done wrong or dangerous possibly? Maybe stretch beforehand so you don't hurt yourself?
I was just about to say. Well, for me, as an older kinky player, I don't bend as much as I used to. My knees crack, my joints pop. So it's very rigorous. So have knee pads, have protective gear if you're doing a lot of wrestling and role playing.
Sorry, doing what?
Wrestle.
Oh,
You want to wrestle?
How do you spell that?
You want to wrestle?
Is it W or R?
W-R-A-S-S-L-E. It's an Urban Dictionary. Check it. Wrestle.
And for me, I would say similar, safety. Invest in safety too, because your joints are important and animal role players don't move like humans. Our bodies are not technically like built for that. And last but not least on the recommendations is get involved in the community. There are so many lovely, wonderful people of different kinds of play and players and pets, but all of them are just so wholesome and lovely. And you meet so many great people that help you grow as maybe a pet, but mostly as a kinkster. It's kind of the best part of the kink community is the community.
And the best thing about community is you learn so much from others.
And that was the last one.
Wow.
Oh wait, no, there's one more question from Puppy. What's a safe word?
Giddy up!
You've done that one. You've done that one before. No?
That's my safe word.
Oh, okay, fine. You can reuse safe words. We hope that you guys enjoyed this Ask episode. If you guys want to see more of them, and based on the numbers you guys generally do, let us know what Ask we should do next time. This was the top liked one of one of the last episodes was Ask a Pet Player. So there you go.
And if you found this information useful, leave a like down below.
Hit it with the paw. Just.
And if you're a kitty, ring that bell.
Oh yeah, but only once. Don't keep ringing it because I don't know if unringing it does. And don't forget to subscribe for more hilarious content.
Oh my dog.
We'll see y'all next time.
Bye!
Hilarious.
Yeah, no, I heard you the first
A
time.
bushel of fun.
Official.
Just had to horseshoe that one in there. Sorry, I saved all the puns for the end because I learned
Wow, apparently.
Doggone it.
Jesus. No. My nose itches.
Bark, 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 bark.
This doesn't feel right. How do you know when you're in the wrong headspace?